Welcome back to another NHL 25 ESHL build, y'all. We are getting into the first one that y'all have commented / requested of the year. So first off, thank y'all so much for all the comments between player builds and just builds in general that y'all want to see me make. I'm going to be trying to pump out as many of those as I possibly can for y'all. So keep commenting, whether it be player builds or builds in general that you want to see. It's greatly appreciated. So let's get into this one. We are going to be doing the best two-way forward build this year in NHL 25. So of course, for our archetype, we do have to go two-way forward. It's literally the only thing that makes sense for a two-way forward build. But then for our height, we're actually going to go 6'2". If you wanted to go 6'4" and make him as tall as you possibly could, you absolutely could if you wanted to. However, I use these builds for mostly threes, so speed is an absolute necessity for me. So going 6'2", giving us a little bit longer of a reach, but not having to take anything off of our speed is absolutely huge for me. Then for our weight, we're going to go 175 because your body checking might be a little bit higher and stuff, balance, all that good stuff, but on this build, your balance and stuff will be more than enough. And 175, like I said, we need all the speed that we can get. Shooting hand is completely up to you. I go lefty, but preference is up to you, whether you want to go right or lefty. And abilities and boosts we will come back to as always. First, for your technique attributes, you just of course want to add 5 to your speed, and reason being, like I said, we just want to absolutely maximize our speed as much as possible. Add 1 to your agility, then just take 3 off wrist shot and take 3 off your slap shot accuracy as well. Next, for your power attributes, we're going to actually just add 2 to our acceleration, 2 to our endurance, then we're going to take 3 off puck control and 1 off both slap shot and wrist shot power. Reason being is obviously a few of the builds that I've made already, I haven't necessarily jacked up the endurance. I've kind of been rocking with 87, but you do run out of stamina very, very fast this year, especially you take one big hit, you're absolutely gassed. The other team gets full pressure, you're absolutely gassed. If you play sixes, the other team gets a power play, you're absolutely gassed. So trying to get up our endurance a little bit, I'm going to be kind of trying to do that a little bit more going forward, if y'all are going to notice with these builds, until EA maybe updates the stamina a little bit. After that, for your playstyle attributes, you just want to add 3 to your passing, 2 to defensive awareness, then 1 to both body checking and offensive awareness. And we're just going to take 5 off stick checking because I'll be honest, I keep saying it, and this is a hill I'm going to die on. I don't think stick checking is that important of an attribute. I think discipline's more important, and I also think you can use some different abilities and stuff to counter it. Not to mention, if you're just smart with your poke checks and stick lifts, and you're not trying to poke check people or stick lift people from behind, you're really going to avoid a good amount of penalties. Then for your tenacity attributes, you're just going to add 3 to hand-eye, 2 to strength, then take 5 off shot blocking, and 4 off your durability. And finally, for your last attributes, your tactics attributes, we're of course going to add 5 to face-offs. If you want to use this build at wing, you of course do not have to add 5 to face-offs. You could just increase your deking and maybe your discipline as well. But I'm just going to be showing y'all how you kind of make this at center, and then if you want to adjust it for the wing, you're more than welcome to do so. So we're going to add 5 to face-offs, 3 to deking, then just take 5 off our fighting and 4 off our discipline. I know I said discipline was more important than stick checking, but even then, I still don't think discipline's super important, and having a low discipline, I really haven't noticed causes more penalties or anything like that. So that's why we're rocking with it like this. We're also going to do a little bit of something with the abilities and stuff to hopefully try and help counter the low discipline and stick checking as well. Now, going back to our abilities, for our zone ability, you are of course more than welcome to use whatever one of these abilities you want. However, for me, I like stick 'em up. Like I said, with that low stick checking, with that low discipline attribute, having stick 'em up really helps counter that and also kind of helps prevent penalties. Like I said, as long as you are not stupid with your poke checks and your stick lifts, you're not doing it at completely like times that are clearly going to be a penalty. If you're skating behind someone, you go for a poke check, it does not matter how high or low your discipline and your stick checking is, you will get a penalty. You just got to time it right. You just got to use your stick correctly. If you're not using R1 or RB and just using your right stick to kind of guide your stick, you should definitely practice that because that is absolutely huge, and stick 'em up actually does help with that as well. Now, superstar abilities is where it gets really interesting because we get a whole plethora of abilities that we could possibly use on this build, but you're only able to use 2. So in reality, this is going to be up to you, whichever abilities you want to use. However, for me, this year, I've been rocking with 1T, of course, the new timed one-timers. 1T is just absolutely electric. And then for our second one, You could go with close quarters if you wanted to. That's what we went with on our sniper, but I'm not going to do that. You could go with a defensive ability if you wanted to go with quick pick, if you wanted to go with shutdown just to help your defense a little bit more, since this is a two-way forward, and I'm assuming you're probably going to be playing more center than anything. But actually, for offensive, we're going to go offensive with our ability for this one. If I was playing sixes, I would actually go big tipper. However, like I said, mostly these builds are for threes 99.9% of the time. So I'm actually going to go with puck on a string. Puck on a string is a super good ability this year, and if you are not using it, I highly recommend trying it out because it is so good this year. And finally, for your boost, you are of course more than welcome to go with a different one if you don't want to go with either of these abilities that I decided to go with. However, for the first one, I decided to go with steady hands to increase our puck control a little bit. 85 still might be a little bit low, but I wanted to maximize our endurance and our speed / acceleration on this build, so we had to sacrifice puck control a little bit. Then for our second one, I decided to go with positional IQ. Reason being, I decided not to go with quick pick on this build, so I wanted my defensive awareness and my reaction to those passes and passing lanes to be as quick and as good as possible. So defensive awareness is the way to do that. If I decided to go with quick pick as a silver ability, I probably would have lowered that a little bit more and maybe went with a little bit more endurance and maybe used an endurance boost as well. This is the two-way forward build that we are rocking right now. If you did enjoy this video and you are enjoying these builds, you want to see more, feel free to drop a like, comment any other types of builds you want to see me create in ESHL, whether it be player builds or builds like this and it's just an archetype in general, playstyle in general that you want to see me create. Let me know down in the comments below, and also sub with noties on so you don't miss any of these builds and any of your favorite players once we do start up the player build series. I greatly appreciate you boys watching. I appreciate all the support so far on NHL 25, and we're still just getting started, fellas. Greatly appreciate y'all. Hope to see you in the next one. Peace out.